Well, during the election back in May, as many of you would remember, Labor tried to pull in votes with its uncapped parent visa scheme. But as we looked into what they had proposed at the time, it became clear to me that more broadly, a number of our visa categories were in need of urgent reform. And it isn't just parent visas. A new report out today labels Australia's partner visa rules the weakest in the world and claims bogus couples are using partner visas to obtain permanent residency. The gaming of our migration and visa system isn't breaking news to many of my viewers, I know that, but I guess it highlights yet again that there's a lot of work for the government to do to ensure our migration system has integrity. Joining me tonight is leading demographer and president of the Australian Population Research Institute, Dr. Bob Birrell, who's made a real study of this issue. Thanks for your time, Dr. Birrell. I want to start with your analysis out today. You know this system inside out. You say that our partner visa rules are some of the weakest in the world. How so?
Yes, I'm afraid that's all too clear. We do have the weakest in the world. And in particular, if you want to sponsor a partner in Australia, all you have to be is a permanent resident, may have just arrived here yesterday, or a citizen. But as long as you're 18 years of age, you can be unemployed, living at home, no requirement at all from the government that you have a regular, secure income, and you can go ahead and sponsor a partner. No other country in the world allows that kind of arrangement. They all require a minimum secure income before a partner can sponsor a partner.
And of course we know that the person sponsoring it, the person in Australia, doesn't have to be a citizen, can be a permanent resident. You've just said they don't have to be themselves in work. The person that they bring into Australia as their spouse doesn't have to have English language skills. It doesn't have to meet skilled job tests. It doesn't have to be capable of getting work in Australia. And obviously too, as with the person in Australia, but the person coming in can also go basically straight on to welfare. That's also unusual compared to other systems around the world, isn't it?
Yes, well, we have tightened up on the welfare access side. The current arrangements are that when a person sponsors a partner, they get a 2-year temporary entry visa pending being able to establish that the relationship is genuine and continuing. Only at that point can they access unemployment benefits, access universities on Australian terms and so on. So there is a 2-year interregnum. But aside from that, there is no requirement on the part of the partner at all, except that they've got to be 18 and find the $7,200 fee for the application.
You say, Dr. Birrell, that the evidence is there's about 110,000 marriages in Australia every year, but there's 50,000 of these spousal visas. So just under half of our married couples per annum are coming with an offshore partner, a foreign groom, or most likely the case, a foreign bride. I wasn't aware that the statistics were like that, 40-45%. But I also wasn't aware, and your report goes through this in detail, that only a couple of thousand of them are coming from, say, the UK and the US. The vast majority of our foreign brides and grooms are coming out of the developing world. Is this becoming a new way to get Australian residency?
Yes, well, you're absolutely right. And most people think kindly about the partner visa. Well, of course, we should allow people who, boy meets girl, international travel, to marry and come to Australia. But that group counts for barely 20% of the 40 to 50,000 partner visas. Another third of them come from persons on temporary visas in Australia, mainly overseas students who managed to find a sponsor in Australia The other third are what I call chain migration. These are partners that persons in Australia, usually of Asian origin, go back to their country of origin, linking with family, friends, community, and bring back a spouse. So the great majority then of partner visas are either temporary residents in Australia or part of this chain migration flow. And it's a one-way flow. And in each case, it's bestowing a huge benefit on the person who receives the partner visa. That's why it's so popular. And that's why I think the numbers will increase if we don't reform the present arrangements.
What do you think is the priority reform that the government should be looking at?
Well, the first thing is to toughen up on who can sponsor a partner, and I think that the criteria should be at least 21. It should be able to show that they have a regular income, which will enable them to look after the partner. The other area of reform has to do with what happens in Australia when partner visa applications are turned down. Thousands are each year, and most of those then are appealed to the Administrative Appeal Tribunal. And that has become a really serious problem because we're getting a major backlog of these cases. It's taking 1 to 2 years before they're completed. In the meantime, this is a very convenient way for a person who wants to stay in Australia, an overseas student or a working holiday maker, to stay on. The government at present gives them a bridging visa, which allows full work rights. Now, I think at a minimum, we should require that anybody who is sponsored in Australia and challenges the ruling should return home pending the decision so as to remove the incentive to game the system, which is what's happening right now.
Well, you're absolutely right. There was a report last week by retired Judge Ian Callanan, retired High Court Judge Ian Callanan, who said that the system right now, the AAT, the Administrative Appeals Tribunal, half of the cases in the system come from migration matters, and he is alive to the fact that the system is being gamed. Your research today says very much the same thing. Dr. Birrell, thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you.